Hi everyone, my name is Violet Felt, and I'm the first author of Seeing Stars, Learn Star Localization for Narrow Field Astrometry. And today I'm going to walk you through this work. So let's start over here with the pipeline of what we're actually doing. Here we have a raw telescope image. So this is an image that a telescope took while it was tracking a satellite. The satellite appears as a dot in this image, while all of the stars appear as streaks in the image. We feed this raw image into a star detection model, which detects the star streaks, shown here as red lines. The locations of the stars are then fed into an astrometric engine, which is an algorithm that uses the ratios between the star locations to figure out where the telescope is looking in the sky. So the whole point of this pipeline is to have an image with a satellite in it and be able to very precisely locate where that satellite is in the sky. That's the point of our pipeline. There have been traditional methods for detecting stars in images that involve lots of image pre-processing steps and are generally slower. And the star detection models that we have replaced these traditional algorithms with outperform these algorithms by leaps and bounds, which is what I'm excited to share with you today. So in this paper, we have three main contributions. The first is the StarNet dataset. So this is a dataset of 64,000 images like this that we collected over a span of 4 years, collected by 4 different sensors in 3 different geographic locations. And these images capture all sorts of satellites in them. Low Earth orbit satellites, medium Earth orbit satellites, geostationary satellites. And so the star streaks in these images are all different lengths and angles. Additionally, the sensors have different noise patterns on them, and these noise patterns can change over time, which makes this problem an ideal problem for a machine learning solution. In terms of star detection models, we have 3 different models that we use. The first is an object detection model called deformable Dieter, in which stars are predicted as bounding boxes. The second is an instance segmentation model. We use HTC. In this model, stars are predicted as pixelized masks. And the third is line segment detection model, LEADER, and that predicts stars as line segments. And finally, we present a framework for evaluating these different star detection solutions. We have object-based metrics, pixel-based metrics, and astrometric fit rate, which is basically, out of all these images, how often do we get an astrometric fit versus astrometric failure, which is not knowing where we're looking in the sky. So before we train the models, we have to build the dataset. We begin by capturing all of our images from telescopes, and then we use traditional star detection methods to detect the stars in these images. Source extractor is a very widely used classical star extraction method, and while astrograph is a newer classical star extraction method. We use both of these methods, and some example star predictions from them are shown here at the bottom. So this image on the far left, this is a source extractor prediction. So you can see it's detected all the stars, but it also has quite a few false positives. The image to the right of that is an astrograph star prediction, so it kind of has the opposite problem. Very precise, low recall. We also use human annotation to detect stars in these images and model ensembling. So basically training our model on a subset of the dataset to predict a larger portion of the dataset. Once we have detected some of the stars that we know are present in the image, we submit the detected stars to astrometry.net, which is this astrometric engine box here. This figures out where we're looking in the sky. If we are able to get an astrometric fit and we know where we're looking in the sky, then we can rely on a star catalog to extract all of the stars that we know must be present in the image. So this part of our pipeline is really nice and kind of unique to this problem. We know that every single ground truth star that we're training with is a real ground truth star because we're pulling them from a star catalog. We're not relying on just human annotation or a traditional star detection method or the model ensembling, which can be kind of risky if we didn't have this astrometry in the loop step where we actually extract the ground truth stars from a star catalog. Once we have the ground truth stars, we know what actual stars should be visible in this image. We represent them in different deep learning formats. Bounding boxes, like this, for deformable Dieter, instance segmentation masks, like this, for HTC, and line segments like this for the leader model. We modify the deep learning models so that every model architecture only detects one class, stars, and can detect 1,000 objects of that class. The 1,000 objects part is important because some of these images have extremely dense star fields. And we make sure that with the ground truth stars that we put in the image, we can always produce an astrometric fit if every ground truth star is detected. So just looking down here at the model predictions, you can see that all three models do a pretty good job of picking out all of the visible stars in the image, unlike Source Extractor and Astrograph, which have their own precision and recall problems. To compare our models to the baseline methods, we use precision, recall, and F1 score, aligning with previous work in this field. For the models that predict objects, these first three columns here, we can see that deformable Dieter has the highest F1 score, while HTC has the most precise star predictions, and Leader has the highest recall in terms of star predictions. For models that do make pixel-based predictions, HTC, which is our instant segmentation model, outperforms all other methods across the board. And then finally over here for our astrometric fit rate, so this is how often do we get an astrometric fit versus astrometric failure. You can see that our models outperform both of our baseline methods by an incredible amount. And they're all pretty similar performant, but deformable Dieter has a slightly higher astrometric fit rate than the other two. One other figure I want you to note in this diagram is that Source Extractor has a false fit rate that is non-zero. So a false fit rate occurs when the stars that are detected by the star detection method are matched to a portion of the sky that isn't actually the portion of the sky that the telescope is looking at. So this is really bad because it means that whatever satellite is in that image, we're going to get a data point for the location of that satellite that is an outlier and incredibly false. So you can see the false fit rate. You can rationalize the false fit rate by looking at the actual Source Extractor predictions down here, just because there's so many false positive stars. So it would be really easy for the astrometric engine to find a group of false positive stars that matches a different portion of the sky. In addition to the performance metrics, we also look at the residuals for all three of our models and our two baseline methods. So RA and DEC are kind of like the latitude and longitude of the sky, while arc seconds are a very small sliver of the sky. So an arc second is about 1/3 of a pixel for the imagery that we're dealing with. So you can see that all of the baseline methods and machine learning models have residuals centered around 0. So this is good. This means we don't have any offset bias built in. In general, the RA residuals are wider than the DEC residuals. And this means for our dataset that it's easier for both models and baseline methods to identify the center of the star looking perpendicular to the star streak, and harder to identify the center of the star when we're looking along the star streak. And then finally, all of our machine learning methods have residual spreads similar to Astrograph, which is one of our baseline methods. Source Extractor, specifically in the RA dimension, has a worse residual, which just means Source Extractor is quite bad at localizing the center of the star streak along the star streak. And this makes sense because Source Extractor was really built for stars that look like point sources and not stars that look like streaks. So in conclusion, in this work, we have trained 3 different models to detect star streaks in telescopic imagery. This method doesn't need any sort of pre-processing. We can take the raw telescope images. We don't need any metadata. We don't need traditional darks and flats like you do when processing other astronomic imagery. We can just take the raw image, feed it into the star detection model, and get star streaks in the image. We can then feed those star streaks into an astrometric engine to figure out where we're looking in the sky and really, really precisely localize where the satellite dot is in our image. Previous work in this field has used machine learning to identify the satellite point source in the image. So this work kind of pairs with that work really well. In the future, what would be really nice is to replace the whole pipeline with a machine learning model. So not just the computer vision star detection step, but also the astrometric engine, where are we looking in the sky step. This would reduce the complexity of the whole pipeline to O of 1, when currently the astrometric engine still takes O of n time to match the star ratios to the sky. So that's kind of where we're looking in the future. But this was a really exciting work for us to show how much better machine learning star detection can be as compared to traditional star detection methods. And this concludes my presentation. Thanks for watching.